What's up, guys? Matty here at mixandmastermysong.com. So today's video is going to be kind of detailed because, as I've talked about, I'm a former Pro Tools user, and AudioSuite to me was everything. Now, Studio One has the equivalent, which is Event Effects, and it works fairly well, but out of the box, it's a little funky, I guess, to say the least, and it doesn't quite work as great as AudioSuite does. So I did some work and working on the macros, which is a way you can, it's kind of like shortcuts in Studio One. You can have it do a couple different things all at once. I made some macros and stuff so that it works really fast and just about as good as AudioSuite. So I'm going to show you how I go about it today, and just like how I've gotten Studio One to work a lot. So I just have this vocal I dragged in here. It's nothing crazy.
I consider a day.
So the point of it is let's say, so first of all, one of the great things of Studio One is you can do vocal line in Studio One. So you just double click here, or you can make a shortcut like I have, edit in Melodyne, and boom, the whole thing comes up as Melodyne, and then you can select it and tune it and all that stuff, right? But what happens after that is it's now an Event Effects, which is down here. So you can see now that Event Effects has Melodyne on there, right? If you start having a lot of different tracks with Event Effects on, it can start to slow down your system, and you really want to kind of process that. So what you have to do is hit render. Now, it's fine if we hit render now because this is the only plugin in the system, right? But if you hit render when you have a full mix going with tons of plugins, this thing's going to take quite a long time to render. So what I did was I made a macro, which you can see here is called render tracks, and I'm going to pull it up so you guys can copy it at home and use it. Let's see if I could find it, and then I'll show you what it does, but I just want to make sure you guys have it. So here it is. Take a screenshot and plug it in on your system. I'm not sure if I don't know how to export these. Maybe I can. If I'll find a way, and I'll maybe put a link to it if I can. But this is the render tracks macro. And so what it does is it deactivates all inserts. So first, when I hit the button, it automatically goes to this button down here. I don't know if you can see with my hand, which turns off every single insert in your session. So that takes all the CPU load off. Then it selects the track, then it renders it as an Event Effects render, and then activates all the plugins again. So what it does is it makes it 10 times faster than normally would if you had all these plugins. So if we put a plugin here, right? Say the DS or something, right? And hit render just down here, then it would take forever. It wouldn't take forever now because we had a small session, but it would have this CPU load on it, which FabFilter's CPU load is 0 usually, but you can see here. So we have the Melodyne and the FabFilter. Now this is nothing, but when you have big reverbs and tons of other stuff, it really starts adding up. So watch, when I click it, you'll see this will turn off, and then it will render the Melodyne. So here we go. Let's do it. Here's the button for the macro I just showed you guys. See how it turned off, and now it's rendered, and you can see down here that the file has been rendered. Now, if we hit restore, it will go back, and there it is. So that's cool. So that's pretty sweet. So we found a really fast way to almost process like AudioSuite. Now here's the other issue I started having. Let's say we start editing this vocal, right? We've taken out some dead spaces. We wanted to turn down just this section here, okay? And we took out a few more dead spaces, and we turned out this dead space. And so now, and I mean, as you know, if you do a lot of vocal editing, this can get times 100 with all these little cuts and edits. Now you have all those little spots that have not been rendered yet because we were still tuning our vocal. We didn't want to render it yet. So now, if you don't know any better, you have to feel like you have to go here, because when you select both of them and click render,
I consider a dash.
Well, it's going to go live because I have pipeline on so you guys can hear me. But when you click both of these and render, it's only going to render this one. And then you're going to have to go and click render this one, and then this one and that one. Okay, so that's a pain in the butt. So the same thing, what this render track does is I can select all of these, right? So now all our files are selected, and now watch. It turned everything off and rendered all of the vocals. Now that is magic to me. So this render track is amazing, okay? So now everything is rendered, right? Now one final little step, and I'll show you something else. Let's say that we wanted to use RX6 or RX7's deplosive, right? You do need to hit restore before you would put it on here. But here's something else that's really cool. You can search here for your RX. I got RX6 deplosive, right? And you can't just drag it on. If you drag it on, it goes to here, right? But if you click option drag, look, you can add it to any of them, right? So you can just dump it right on there. And now if you look down at our event effects, you see deplosive and Melodyne's on there, right? And so now you can change the plosive however you want, blah, blah, blah. I actually have the plugin saved a certain way I kind of like it. And then we hit a render track. And now it's been saved with deplosive and Melodyne. So if you just do this, what can happen is you'll lose your Melodyne. So that's the only thing you kind of have to be careful with. Is you have to unrender it before you drag a new plugin on. You know what I mean? And then finally, the last thing is let's unrender all these really quick. Or restore them, sorry. Okay, so these are... That's the one thing I still have to make a macro for, is to restore all the plugins. That's one thing I need to do. So I still have to see, I have to go through...
I was smoking big joints.
I still have to go through and unrender these. Anyway, so the other cool thing you can do is if you have like deplosive, like the way I use it is I have a setting already, but if you had a plugin, right, and you wanted to test it out and see how it worked on a track, so let's say we put deplosive on here, right, and then we get our setting, we play with it, we play it.
Style, get them off me, I'm flying to the next.
And we find the setting we want, right? We can change sensitivity, and we listen and get it right. And then we're like, okay, that's good enough for the whole track. I want to apply it to everything. So now you can take all three of these, right? And then option, drag your deplosive, and now it's going to add it to all the different edits you've done, and you can apply it to the whole thing. Then all you got to do is hit render tracks. And now deplosive is on your event effects on everything. So hopefully this was helpful, and it might be kind of advanced and kind of crazy the way I went through it, but I mean, doing these and having the macro changed my life. Like, it saved me like a half hour a day because I do a lot of tuning vocals, and I use a lot of RX6 because I get a lot of like people recording at home, so like the vocals aren't always done well. So I use deplosive a lot. I use mouth declick a lot, or whatever it's called. I use the de-esser at times because the de-esser, the Spectrum de-esser is actually really good, but it takes up a lot of CPU. So I can do all that stuff as an event effect and then put it offline. And now it saves me a ton of CPU, and I can run all my other plugins like my limiters and clippers and all that stuff that takes up a lot of CPU. So hopefully this video was helpful. It was game changing for me to get these macros to work this way. And now it basically works just kind of like AudioSuite, except maybe a little bit more flexible. So let me know if you get any comments or questions. You can leave them in the comments below. If you need your song mixed or mastered, hit me up at mixandmastermysong.com. Thanks.